Welcome back to the Plus Side of Nashville, everybody. You know, grieving the loss of a loved one is a painful and difficult challenge anytime. But the holiday season can magnify the hurt and mourning. So how does one deal with the cherished memories, sadness, and loss when everything and everyone around you is joyful? Well, joining me now to discuss that is John Baker, who is a grief counselor with Alive Hospice. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. You know, this is a tough time for those people who've lost a loved one, and not just only sometimes in death, but even divorce or just anybody that's feeling a deep sense of loss. What specifically are these people facing over the next few weeks, and why?
Well, the issue of grief, of course, does complicate the whole holiday experience, and it's often a surprise to people when that occurs. There's always a fair amount of pressure, to say the least, during the holidays for that experience that we all want, involving so many traditions, so many rituals. It involves, of course, expectation for happiness, expectation for family. And, of course, if there's been a loss in one's life, a significant loss for sure, during the year or close to the holidays, or even maybe in years previous, it's really quite a surprise for people, perhaps, as they approach the holidays. And they feel this extra burden, this extra needing to push in order to create something that normally would come quite naturally. And of course, it's very daunting for people, and sometimes they feel like they need to hide, they need to pretend. So it's really important for people, as much as possible, to prepare themselves for what's coming and understand that they simply can't escape all of it. They can't escape the grief. It's going to be there. So the more that they learn, the more that they educate themselves about this, the more awareness they have about how they're going to approach it, as well as other family members, the better off they're going to be.
So you say that they should basically sort of prepare for it. They know that the holidays are coming, and they should mentally prepare themselves, emotionally prepare themselves. How can you do that?
Well, it's a really good question. The issue, of course, if I haven't done this before, is not to expect that I should know how to do this. How can we know how to prepare if we've never gone through this before? Even if I've had other losses in the past, each loss is going to be different. And if this is a really heavy-duty loss, then it would really, really be important that I prepare. Now, getting the expectations in line with the reality, I've never gone through this, so how am I going to know? It's to make sure that I don't expect perfection, that I expect there's going to be some ups and downs, the natural pattern of grief, and it may be exacerbated more during the holidays, so that I understand that this isn't going to be perfect, and not much I can do to really make this, you know, a really, really good experience like it has been the case in the past. So the issue is a plan, to create a plan. Now, if I'm going to involve other people, then try and involve them. But the issue is this plan, if I'm the primary person who's grieving, it really should be about me. And not completely ignoring others, but to make it about me. Because I'm the one that's going to have to go through this. I'm the one that's going to have to be sort of at ground center. So the issue here is don't feel selfish, don't feel guilty. Tell people what you want, what you would like to have, at least try, and as much as possible to have some sense of control. That can be such a big deal, to have some sense of control over what's going to happen during this time.
Yeah, and hopefully family members and friends will understand.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully they will, but yeah, there's some who won't. So much of the holidays, John, as you know, is about tradition. And every year, you know, we used to do this, and every year we would do this at this time. Is it important for the person to continue those traditions, or should they start new ones?
That's usually one of the first kind of decision-making processes that has to be considered. And it can be really, really, as I mentioned, quite daunting, because we're not really sure what's going to work. If there is a trusted family member or friend or anyone else to kind of run by, here's what I think is going to work for me this year. And to know that so much of this, especially during the holidays, is trial and error. You have to be willing to kind of wade in slowly with your plan, and you have to be able to say to oneself, I think this is the best way to go, even though The outcome may not be what I expect it to be. I think this is the best way to go. So to embrace the trial and error method and to know that, look, this is 1 year. If this doesn't work, then next year I'll do it altogether different. And so it's just that permission that I give myself that I'm going to try this way. And if it works, great. If not, I'll make it anyway. I'll have the support from people I need. But not to let other people decide what's best for you. You decide.
Right. I'm curious to know, are there some things probably someone grieving shouldn't do during the holidays? But we got to take a break, and we'll ask that of John when we come back, so stay with us.